Hey guys, okay, welcome to the cash flow for this month. Obviously, we're talking about ice spending. And I have Gilbert Ramirez, marketing manager, on the line with me from Everest Ice and Water Systems, which is a company that we've shared a lot inside of the playbook. And I'm just going to let him introduce himself, and then I have a couple of questions to kind of help you make your way through the playbook and get some stuff settled if this is something that you want to pursue. So Gilbert, feel free to introduce yourself and sort of like how long Everest has been in business and exactly what you guys offer.
Sure. So my name is Gilbert Ramirez. I am the marketing manager for Everest and Water Systems. We've been in business for about 10 years, give or take, selling our ice vending machines. So we primarily have one machine that we offer. There's four different models depending on the ice maker, but it's basically, as we want to call it, a business in a box, and as simple as plug and play as you can get. You basically find a location you want to go, put this machine at, plug, attach utilities, ice for water and electricity, and you kind of just let it do its thing. There's very minimal maintenance you need to work on the machine besides keeping bags stocked. But the machine is designed to generate income for you just by selling ice and water. We have a very unique patent on our design where our machine has only one moving part compared to our competitors. Our competitors tend to have 40 to 50 different moving parts in the machine. Ours has the one. So, we like to say we have over 7 million vents easily without any clogs or whatever or anything like that nature, which is great. And another good thing that sets us apart is that we include water vending already. That's a big thing for us, a big thing for everybody. You're ready putting water in the machine to make ice, might as well sell that water as well. So that's already included. And a lot of everything we come that's included on our standard machine tends to be optional upgrades for our competitors, whether there be credit card readers, LED lighting. Our machines are rust proof, designed because they're powder coated. So there's a lot of little things that we did. We put a lot of peace of mind into this machine to make sure that it's the best machine you can buy without having to go crazy.
Interesting. Okay, so you definitely touched on almost all of the questions that I had just in my spiel, so I can tell
Sure.
that you're very well polished with this. You said
Thanks.
7 million vens without a problem?
Yep, that's our so our technology is called VersaVent, and basically works kind of like you would see in a concrete mixer. It's just one barrel that continuously spins, and ice gets dumped into it, and it spins. So as it's spinning, the ice is always agitating. It's never clumping or never getting stuck. And what basic design is that the customer goes up, they push the button. They can either use their own storage containers like a big cooler, or we have provided ice bags for it. You put it in, push the button, and a 10-pound vent comes out automatically within 2 seconds. What's great about that, the way ours is designed, is no need and no fuss about having so many different parts in it that could jam up this machine. So ease of maintenance on you, ease on the experience of the customers. And again, that's just really designed the way so that everybody gets what they want. You have the option of bulk vending, which is great. A lot of people, a lot of blue collar workers, they go to their jobs, they have coolers for ice, they just throw the cooler in front of it and the ice just dumps in there. So it reduces waste, kind of helps for the environment. So there's less plastic going in the air, and it just gives you what customers want.
Interesting. Okay. And I like the piece about there only being essentially one component in the machine because, like you said, lowers the amount of things that could possibly go wrong, keep your maintenance in check. It's kind of like how Southwest kind of keeps their maintenance super scalable, that it's pretty much all the same thing across the board. So that's really interesting. Let's kind of start from the ground up. I think
Sure.
personally would have the most questions about location. So when you're looking at a location to put your machine, let's say that you don't own a plot of land. You're probably going to go to somebody and negotiate some sort of structured deal where you put the machine on their lot. And what have you sort of seen that deal look like, or that strategy? How do you see that set up most often?
So there's typically two ways of going about it. You can do a fixed rate where you go and say, hey, I will pay you $300 a month to have my machine at this location, and that's what you pay every month. And you can also devise it that you also include utilities. That's up to you and the owner on that one. And the other one is a profit sharing thing. You say, hey, for every single month I will give you X amount per sales, like 10% of the sales or whatever. Problem with the second one, while it's still useful, is that there might be some months where your sales could be lower. So now that person, like maybe getting used to $300 a month during the week because they're giving 10% of your sales, all of a sudden it may drop down depending on your location to like they get $20 for that month. So Typically, that's the route we always do not. We don't say to do. Some might like it, some don't. We always say a fixed rate's the best rate because you know what you're paying every month, and they don't know how much you're making because you may have months you're making a ridiculous amount of money. You know,
Yeah.
you're making $4 or $5,000 in a month, and now you're taking a percentage out to them when you know $300 is a small chunk of change to what you get in. So, and then also that's for them. They always hit the same rate, so they don't have to worry about slow months when you're slowing down. You don't have to worry about that either. So it's easier to do that, but that's the best option. One of the cool things about Everest that's, again, sets us apart from our competitors is that we offer location finding assistance. So we partner with one of the best location finding companies in the country. And with us, and then we find you a location. So you don't even have to have a location. You just literally fill out a form, say, hey, this is where I'm at. This is the locations I'm interested in, whether it be convenience stores, hardware stores, residential, whatever, at these zip codes, and they do the legwork for you. They'll say, hey, I contact these places for you. They're interested. At that point, you go and you say, hey, I'm the machine owner. This is my machine. Let's work out a deal. So they do a lot of the legwork for you, and nobody else does that but us.
Is that complimentary or is that included when you purchase a machine?
No, that is not complimentary since we're partnered with a different company. We have to go with them. But what's cool about it as well is part of the fee you pay is they give the location a bonus. They say, hey, you sign with us, we give you X amount of money right off the bat to go with us. You already incentivize them to give you that location, which is again something people really like. And what is cool about that is that you can build it into your financing. So like say you finance the machine, you can build that location finding fee into there, and you just have it one payment, and you just take care of it as you go.
Oh, killer. Okay. So location requirements, I think you brushed over them. So when I'm placing a machine, I need what? Just electricity and water hookup?
That's it. No drainage needed. I mean, there is a slight drainage need, but it's very small. You like look at a half gallon every 4 hours. A lot of our competitors have to have specialty drains because they drain so much water. Ours is not designed that way. Ours is again designed to reduce the amount of ice melting and the amount of water coming out of it. So, and one of the cool things for us, we don't need special electricity. Ours is a 220 volt. So there's no special electrical requirements needed for it. It's a 1/2 inch water line, which is pretty much standard everywhere. So you don't have to have anything specially built to put this machine in that location. You just need a spot to put it at. Typically it's a concrete pad or outside of a store. But as long as you have that with a simple water and power hookup, you're good to go. You could get an Everest machine hooked up within an hour.
Within an hour. Interesting. Okay, so are you guys in Florida?
Yes, we're based in Orlando, Florida.
Based in Orlando. Okay, so I'm interested in getting an Everest machine. I'm in Nashville. How do they get to me?
So the good thing about our machines, they're very, very easy to transport. So once you purchase it and we get it shipped out, it can go to any major carrier service that we have a whole bunch we partner with. But when it arrives, you don't need anything special. You don't need a forklift. You just need a pallet jack. So you get a pallet jack, lift it out of the machine, put it where it goes. And another good thing about our machine is like if you find your first location isn't that great, you can move your machine. A lot of these big places, once you build your structure, it's there forever. This one, if you say, you know what, I found a better deal or a better deal somewhere else, you could put that on your truck and good to go. I've had people put in back of a small trailer and pull with the F-150. I've had it. People have come down there in their Jeep Wrangler with a small trailer in the back. They load their machine into that and they drive it across country where they're going. So we offer the ability to have it shipped to you, or you could pick it up yourself.
So for structural security, it just stands alone, or does it need any like concrete barriers or any sort of like concrete poles?
Nope, doesn't need any of that. It stands by itself. It has adjustable legs if you have to have it in a spot where it's slightly off kilter. It's an aluminum frame, but the steel frame, I should say, it's powder coated. It's all American made. And it has like 6,000 hours of like salt spray life, which is basically the equivalent of I forgot, like over 200 days of just having salt water just spraying on it, which is, you're not going to have that in the middle of Nebraska, but that's how long it's going to be fine without any issues on that frame itself, which is awesome.
Okay, yeah, so it doesn't get frozen. Interesting. Well, all right, so you said you have one machine with multiple different models, correct?
So we have our primary machine is the Everest VX, and there's 4 different ice makers in there. So the 4 different ice makers just depends on the level of ice you want per hour. That's the only difference. Everything else is standard on the inside. So depending on when you talk to an equipment specialist, they may, depending on what your location is, and they may say you might want this one versus this one, just depending on how much ice you anticipate going. But that's really the only difference. It's just how much ice per hour you're getting.
So where could somebody find the data to be able to project that information to choose like what maker that they want? Because I'm assuming that the makers, they just produce on quantity, like one produces faster, produces more essentially per hours. Like where would you find to know what you want?
So how many ice per so wait a minute, the question is how much ice, to know how much ice you need. That is a hard question to ask, and that's going to be more so based on location base. If you feel like you have a location that's going to be pretty busy, you're going to want obviously a bigger ice maker. If you have a location that's going to be out of the way, but there's some traffic, a small ice maker will suffice. We tend to always say you should get a bigger ice maker just because you just want to have that production. You don't want to be stuck in a situation where there is no ice. So having even if you just have ice just sitting there, it's not a big deal. So it's better having more than less.
Okay.
At the end of the day, but typically, a lot of that's solved with one of our equipment specialists, the people who would talk to you about the machine more, would kind of gauge that by in conversation with you, and what your needs are.
What's the range that you have? So like X amount to X amount, is it per hour that it's measured, or?
So basically for us, our ice makers, it's not per hour, but 24-hour periods. So, or I can kind of give you hours. So basically our range of the smallest one is like 640 pounds of ice in a day, which is like 25 pounds per hour, give or take. And our largest is about a little over 1,900 pounds, 24 hours, which is about 80 pounds per hour, give or take. So that's where your range is lying at.
That seems like a lot. Okay, that makes sense. And for overhead, do you see, and I know you said that you could pay the location, the utility, but for costs, like on the owner's side, what are you kind of seeing there outside of equipment financing? Is it extra for water or?
Yeah, so our overhead is gonna be typically cost of bags, which is very tiny amount. Your water and electricity. That's your overhead stuff, because you don't have to worry about employees. Of course, you can have employees if you want to have somebody go out to, let's say you buy 6 machines that you don't want to do, you can hire someone to go restock bags or whatever. But that's what you're looking at for your overhead, because you're not looking at anything with theft or anything of that. There are some other things yearly, like your water filter, obviously yearly has to change, or it could be up to 6 months to a year, depending on your location of your water. You might have, you need to replace it early, depending on what you're selling. But that's your primary things, is just water filters, bags, and then your electrical costs. Which is nothing crazy. You can sell these, a 10-pound bag of ice based off the estimates is like 8 cents a bag is your cost, and you can sell them for $2 a bag. So you're looking at a substantial profit margin on these machines.
Yeah, I've seen anywhere from, I think, like $1.50 to $2 on a 10-pound, and then 20-pound that goes up to, I don't know, maybe 3. But so outside of the maker inside, what other components are on the machine? I know you said there's lighting. So does that light up the payment pad, or does that illuminate the actual unit?
So you have a LED lighting for the panel itself. So basically, we have a large panel that advertises ice and water. So that could be on all day. So now where you're at, you're going to know, oh, that's an ice and water machine, because you could see it. It won't obviously outlet the unit. You're going to have to put that a location for yourself if you want lighting for the actual unit itself, but that's just for the panel. Things that included are credit card readers, which is, believe it or not, in this day and age, it tends to sometimes be just an option, which is an odd thing to have. You have obviously the VersaVend, our moving part that kind of dispenses the ice. That's built into it. You have filtration, water filtration. So we have an Ever Pure water filtration. If you ever been to McDonald's and had their water, that's what our machine has for it. It's a 5-stage filtration. Really good. Our competitors tend to use reverse osmosis, which is a lot. You're looking at very small amount of water return, and it takes a long time for that tank to be filled. Ours is obviously filtered on demand. We have, I tell you, the bulk vending that comes with it, the water vending that comes standard. The ice maker is protected, which is the thing. So everything's built inside the steel frame, versus our competitors happens to be on top. And the ice maker is probably the most expensive part of your machine.
Yeah.
And then we have one of our favorite features. We have a new remote monitoring system called Basecamp.
Yeah.
Basically allows you to monitor your machine or machines from anywhere in the world. As long as you have internet access, you can see how well your machine's doing, how many vents it's doing, if it's low on bags, if it's low, if you could turn your machine, you can run on and off, you can run diagnostics, everything from the comfort of your home.
Okay.
That's included. Obviously, there's an annual fee for the actual service itself, but the ability to run it is included as well as a base camp.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Like, what technological capabilities are there for you to run it remotely? Because I'm assuming most of the people watching, like, yeah, of course, you're going to start with one machine, but they're going to want to culminate a bunch of different locations. And so, remote monitoring technology, being semi-absentee, is a big thing for people who want passive income. So that's a big
Yeah.
camp, and then like an overseeing technology. Got
Yeah,
it.
which is awesome. Basecamp is cool. You can even vend ice from a location. If you want to, if you know somebody's at a machine and you want to give a bag of ice, hey, go to
Yeah.
vendor or water vent or whatever you may be. You could do that. You could be in Barbados, your machine could be in California, like, boop, and it's good to go, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's killer. Just give some random person a free vend.
Yeah.
Um, well, last question I'm curious about. So I'm sure there's obviously a range of prices for the different like components and of the different machines. What are people's options for financing this? Like obviously they have our own capital to put down, but I mean equipment loans, leasing, SBA loans, like or is it kind of all of those or?
All those and more. We do have a partner with ours, which is a financing company called Vendlease, but it's not really lease; it's actually financing. And they, within a day, you'll know whether or not you can get finance through them, and they can based off a bunch of different merit factors. But they're really really well, and they tend to finance a lot, multiple machines if you decide. So that's one of the big partners. Your own bank. Problem sometimes your own bank it takes longer because you just have to go, you give all your information, it takes like 30 days. Vendlease takes like a day. Then you have your own capital if you really wanted to, you could do that. We always encourage leasing first because we don't want you to blow through your capital if you decide you want to do other things like site improvements and whatnot. If you feel like, oh, I found a really cool site, but I want to build a pad, I want to build lights and whatnot. Well, finance a machine, use that for that stuff.
Okay.
So that's our usual.
Is it lease
But
to own or just?
no, this is not a this is that's why I want to make sure they're called vend lease, but it's not leasing, it's financing.
Okay.
Yeah. And then SBA is another good one too. SBA works perfectly fine. And another
Yeah, okay.
yeah, and another good thing about these machines too is they qualify for Section 179, which means you can get a tax deduction on the machines as long as you purchase it within the calendar year. So like our calendar year running out for taxes next year ends at the end of the month, end of December. But if you start next year, then in the following year you can deduct the machine pricing for with the Section 179.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. That's actually awesome. Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna do this. I'm really excited. Okay. So if you have any, those are all the questions that I had, but if you have any other like words of wisdom for some like first timer or anything you think people should avoid, what would you say?
So yeah, so for me, there's a lot of things I would say. There's a lot of things I would definitely look out for
Okay.
when you're looking, because I know there's a lot of competitors. Everyone wants to do their own research, which is 100% fine. I'm not going to say, to be us only, but I would encourage you to think that way. But like some things for me is that there's always some deal breakers. There's going to be when you're buying a machine, if you're looking for this for passive income for a side hustle, you don't want to buy a machine with too many parts. Beyond all, you're going to buy a machine that's going to be more maintenance heavy on you than you want to. You want to have a machine, you set it and forget it. Our competitors have machines with augers, they have chain drives, they have a tons of different things that you don't want to even deal with. Ours has one thing. Two, buying a machine that's too large. That's a big thing. I don't know if you've seen some ice machine, like machine places. It looks like the size of a house. They could be in the middle of a parking lot and they're massive. You don't need that much to be a successful ice business. Our machines very rarely ever run out of ice because we produce so much. Those are the ways they used to do it. We're trying to show you the way that it should be done now. You don't need that big bulky thing like that. You don't need a machine that can't go nowhere. You want a machine. Yeah, you want a machine that builds that vents water. Water is a really inexpensive resource that people will purchase from you, and our machine does it without having to pay extra. Other companies will charge you extra. Like I said before, you're already buying the water, you're already filtering the water to make the ice. I'll just sell the water. And then the last big thing is really you don't want to buy a machine that has reoccurring fees. That's one of the things that sets us apart. We have no licensing fees. We have no service fees. Those our competitors all tack those on. You got to pay them monthly or annually. You buy the machine, that's your machine. You don't owe us anything besides the cost of the machine. We do offer service. We do offer support included. So you give us a call, we'll help you. We'll help if any issues. But you don't want to pay extra just to say, oh, I have this machine from XYZ company. And now every year I have to pay XYZ company money because I had this machine. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
like a royalty somehow.
Yeah, for what? Just to say I have it? I already bought it from you.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. Gilbert, this has been great. Thank you so much.
Yep.
I'll drop this in the playbook and he'll be around if you guys have questions. Thanks.